Welcome to the first perspective series. We have a special guest today, an old friend, good friend of mine. We're going to be chatting a little bit since Usaini is one of Lama registered professionals. So without share with us a bit about his journey. So Toxic, tell us about your upbringing. Kutsi ufike njani? Waqala njani?
Sanibonani. Ngibita ngaligama la toxic lasestradini lela. I think when I'm quite formal, I go by the name Zakhele Lekhuleni, and that's when I become a corporate. Born and raised in Matsulu. Spent some few years in Komas as well. And I think the first 5-6 years, I stayed with my mom. I think which was good for me as well because I got to get that mother love, and then something in me told me I need to stay with my father for some odd reason. I don't know. I think Majoti or something, but yeah. By the way, and then I moved to Matsulu then. I think I was doing grade 2 when I moved to Matsulu. Got there, mawufika. Onke lama student akubuka ngathi ulivele in a way mawubuya eNkomazi. So ngahlala laphana, ngahlala emuva. I had these friends that I liked. Before I eceleni nabo then but I ambohlala emuva wena. Ngihlala emuva then. And little did they know ukuthi this kid is one of the sharp ones eklasini. After a few months, they realized they made a mistake. Bangipita ngahlala phambili nabo. And I think that's where my journey started. Just being that special kid. I've always done things differently from other kids. I've always wanted to stand out. I think by grade 7, I was a head boy at Tanzania Primary School where I did my primary. And then ngabona ukuthi Simon, there is something special in myself. Ngabona ukuthi no man, I can really build myself quite well. And even my teachers also advised my father ukuthi akangifake on a good school. Bangangifundisi on this location schools. I'm not saying they're bad, but I think my potential could have been unleashed way better. Should I have been in these multiracial schools? Probably I could have been somewhere parliament. But yeah, anyway, I then did my secondary school in Mastake Secondary, which Nakona I quite excelled very well. I had love for the academics, love for sports as well. Used to play soccer. And because of my height, then joined basketball when I was doing grade 10. And that's where I think that's where we met actually after that. Then grade 10, fell in love with maths very much so. And science, of course. These things, they go together. 11, 12, I became the president of Lekhuleni, voted by the students to say, no, we see this guy is a leader. This one can lead us. It was the first time Baba na President Longa Peminsang. After, to go to Selukshini, normally Bafuna, the one that talks too much, then they say, no, you must be the president so that you can tell these teachers what we want. So there was order after I was president. And Namid helped me to grow even much more.
What grade was that when you were president?
That was great. I was supposed to be president grade 11, but they thought, I'm too young to be president. And the teachers decided, no, let's give it to somebody who's in matric. Then in grade 12, they voted me again to be president. And I was lucky enough to contest. And then I became president. They accepted. My teacher said, no, don't take that position because it's going to disturb your studies. I felt like I needed that challenge. And if I didn't, stretch myself the way I did, I don't think I would be where I am. I think that's where I actually realized that I can actually achieve quite more by applying my brain quite further because in most cases we are we are limited in terms of our thinking. So that helped me to actually think outside. And then I did my winter schools, which I think this was the turnaround of how I viewed things and how I see things. That moment had a paradigm shift in me. I did my winter schools EVETs.
Oh, okay.
I was one of the top 5 students that were selected. 3 boys, 2 girls. In actual fact, 2 boys, 3 girls.
Oh, you were still in high school?
I was still in high school at that time.
Okay.
Then they took us to Johannesburg. So they wanted to give us like a life after matric.
What year was this?
Like. 2006.
Oh.
At Vets, I met a lot of characters there. Different characters, and it gave us like a prototype of how university life to be exposed, and that helped a lot because we got exposed in different materials of learning that we started using, and it made our performance quite better.
At least you were working towards something.
Yes, and I quite loved the atmosphere and the ambience there. The reception, it was quite good. I'm like, and remember, coming from a township, you don't have much information about how university is and how it's run and all of these things, what happens. Then I did well, matric, passed enough to secure me a space at the university. My wish was to study at Vets. I didn't get enough grades. I think I was short by 1 or 2 points to be accepted at Vets. And I tried UKZN as well. I was 1 short point. And then UJ accepted us. It was me and my friend. We went to UJ. Then I wanted to do initially, just before maybe we get to University of what I studied there. Initially, I wanted to be a doctor.
Why a doctor?
Honestly, I didn't know why.
Oh, it's not something of influence like your parents or...
It was obviously the idea of having the first doctor at home.
Okay.
And another idea that they were earning a lot of money. And, with the love of maths and physics and biology. But matric, we didn't have a biology teacher, which is life science now. So I ended up not doing well with my biology. So I had to take anything engineering, which my father came and influenced me to actually do engineering. And I never realized until he had a big talk with myself. My father once said...
you said with your father then?
Yes.
Okay.
And he said to me, look, son, I don't have money to further your studies. You need to make sure you study so hard that you pass and then you get a bursary. I did just that. And at that time, Begude NSFAS. Begude, my financial aids were slim.
Well, which year was this again?
2006 for 2007.
Okay.
This is when I'm in matric now.
Oh, it's about to begin.
Life is about to begin. Then my father said with me, he's like, no, but I want you to do anything engineering, whether you become electrical, civil, or whatever the case is. I don't care, for as long as you become an engineer. To me, you'll be done. Thinking about the talk that I had with my father, now it comes back to say, I used to love playing with mud. I used to love making structures. Even when I get boxes and whatnot, I used to love architecture, basically. And I realized that civil has all these elements that I actually loved. And then that's when I realized that I actually loved civil before I could realize that I love civil. Then...
So civil loved you before you even knew?
Exactly. And then I went to UJ, studied. I was accepted for B.Eng. And...
You accepted for?
B.Eng, Bachelor of Engineering.
Okay.
Which when you graduate, you have your honors coupled already. So from B.Eng, you then do your master's, PhD, then you're done. So B.Eng had what we call NQF level 8.
Oh, it's one of the...
It's a specialized course because it's a 4-year degree, which is coupled
like
with honors.
Intermediate entry,
It's like there at the epitome. So after that, you don't become an undergrad anymore. You just move to postgrad. So it was coupled with honors when I was accepted there. And then I did that. Yeah, life happened. Uh, life happened. I've learned a lot during my time there. And I think what I'm going to say now might be answering
some of the questions.
some of the questions.
Let's rather, let me ask you this question. Maybe
In fact,
we can move.
Let's start with the questions now.
We can move forward to the next one. What's the one thing you wish you would have known before you began your career?
I wish I could have learned that you need to strengthen your EQ. IQ we see. IQ is a given. You must have it. Your intelligent quotient. But what I didn't know that you have to stabilize your EQ, your emotional quotient. One of the good reasons is because you're going to be dealing with different personalities. And when you get into that industry, you can't allow your emotions to dictate how you do your work, how you treat others, how you perform, because that will determine where you're going to be next. So how you treat the next person will actually determine your destination, because this industry is so small that you can fight with one person now.
Yeah, so you'd alienate her within the industry.
You have just messed up your whole career. You don't know what that person or who that person is, basically. You might mess up and only to find, I'll make an example, only to find that that person is a director at the department somewhere, and he knows all the directors of the municipalities or whatnot. So now, and thereby the municipalities, they know all the companies that are that they procure services from. So if it happens that maybe you do wrong one person there, they can make your name to be dirty throughout all these companies that they work with, only to find that it's going to be quite difficult to get work or even get appointed as well.
So basically, if I'm hearing you correctly, it sounds like most of the work field from the government.
It's in two folds, but because obviously the government is our biggest employer. Private sector is still very, I don't want to, excuse me. But yeah, the private sector is also a cake where we, as the Black community, we need to start penetrating in. But the private sector, because there is not that what they call it. I forgot the term. Anyway, the way of balancing of previously disadvantaged business people. They don't have those gray areas there. There, it's just a matter of your resume.
Are you registered?
Private sector, can you deliver? Are you registered? Can we see what you've done previously? What have you signed off? What have you actually done, basically? So it's all about your resume, basically, on the private sector and who you know. Because basically, they can, in most cases, they work with...
make you or break you at the same
time. They work mostly on reference.
Okay, I would say how...
Who knows who? And yeah,
it's like a click there.
That high niche, high echelon management, those guys, they just, you see, they would maybe have prize. You see, the other race, what they do is they have clubs where they chill and they talk about what do you do for a living, how can you assist us, what can you do? We are having 1, 2, 3, or we are having a project, or we're building a hotel there. What services can you offer there? Things like that. So that's, as the Black community, we don't have those types of clubs where we sit and we share ideas and we share what the professions that we're basically in. In most cases, we just brag about, I'm a civil engineer, and Well, Ghana, what you said you do again? No, I'm a teacher. Oh, okay. Oh, so
That's it.
that's it. We don't deliberate or engage on how can we help each other, But I don't want to be too political in that sense. If you look at the other race, they build their own things. They build their own schools. They build their own hospitals. And we as Black communities, we can't actually do those things as the other ones do. Yeah.
I see. Okay, that was a mouthful. Okay, my next question would be, what is your biggest failure and what did you learn from it?
Then let's get to university. Let's get to university. It was quite a journey. Did my first year quite well, and carried some few modules from first year. Then I did my second year, carried other more modules. Then I did my third year, carried more modules. I did my third year again. This is now my fourth year in university, doing my third year with modules from second year. Then I realized, no, I'm not going to finish this. And I had to be real with myself because it was quite difficult. I had so much going on in my life at that time. You don't have you don't get the support from family. You don't have friends that share the same goals, visions. You're just alone there. You study so hard, one man, and when you get to class, you get 50%. You get 45%. You get 40%. There is no one there to assist you, and it's not because you can't do these things, but it's because there is so much into, making out of university. I would say my biggest failure will be dropping out from doing my BEng, which it was a blessing in disguise because, which I think I might answer another question to say, how has that helped me? Okay, let's leave it like that. Let me just leave it to that. But my biggest failure was dropping off or dropping out from my.
Because the question is actually is what's your biggest failure and what have you learned? So it's okay to
actually say what I've. Yeah, no. Okay, no, it's clear. And what I've learned from it is that look, there is always ways of killing a cat. There's more than 9 ways of killing a cat. I mean, well, a cat has 9 lives, but there is so many ways of getting to your destination. I'm proud to say I'm a master's student now. And at that point when I was dropping out, I thought this is the end of me. Not realizing that, there is other ways of actually getting beyond the obstacle that was blocking you. So that has made me to really realize exactly what I want. How am I going to get it? Then I said, no, I can't just drop out and go back home. I need to drop out and actually do something that's going to take me to a destination that I always dreamed of being in.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. What advice would you give someone trying to pursue a career like yours?
I would advise them to be ready. They must be ready to learn. They must be ready to cry. They must be ready to be thrown under the bus. They must be ready to go under a process that we call character building process. Because once you come out, you'll understand why you went through whatever that you've been going through. Most engineers that I know will tell you a story or two, beautiful stories of how they were raised and how they studied. In most cases, you find it at university. The engineering kids are the ones that are lifeless, in a sense that in most kids would have life at university, but Engineering ones carry big books. They spend their nights at the library. They don't have a life at all because they're trying to catch up on the work, you know, and the workload is quite intense. So they must be ready. If you love working, if you love studying, if you love exploring your mind, this is a good field for you.
So basically, you need to be independent.
You have to be. You have to be. You don't have to be relying on friends or teachers to assist you in, because there's no time there to actually be babysitted in terms of you going across your degree or diploma or whatever qualification that you are attempting.